Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers, and this is video 12 in our series of our mini album, Once Upon a Time. Now, we've got all 10 pages done, and what we're going to do today is we're going to make the spine for the pages. Now, most people would make the spine for the book, or make the cover and the spine for the book first, but the reason that I did it this way is because when you get one completed, this is for a different album, but the album is the same size and the pages are the same size. So I'm assuming the spine is going to work out to be the same size. And you have 2 inches on either side to attach it to the book. Then you have an area for the front of this page and whatever's going to be on the inside front cover of your book, right? And then you slide page 1, remember they're tubes, slide page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's enough room in between for whatever's on the pages. And then there's another valley, and then there's another 2 inches to put on the what was I going to say, on the back cover. Now once you do that, if you turn it over and if you measure from here, which is the 2 inches, this is the 2 inches, and this is 2 inches. These don't count because these are going to be on the inside cover. Okay, so if you measure from this first part to this part, it will tell you how wide of a spine you need. So that's why I'm doing it backwards. So this one comes out to, I think it's 4 inches, 4.5 inches. Okay, so that's going to be pretty good size. So I want to make sure that I know what this one is going to be before I make the book cover. So let me show you. Let me put this out of the way. So now the whole goal is, oh wait a minute. Now I ended up also making this a smidge shorter. Our pages are 8 by 8, so that means they're 8 inches tall. And I ended up, when I tried to put my page on, because it's glued inside the tube, it isn't quite a full 8 inches wide. Let me find the middle. It's over here. It isn't a full 8 inches because of where you've glued it. Okay, so I ended up finding out that if I made mine 7 7/8, that it worked. Now I know that some people would make it the full 8 and then trim a little angle on here to slide it down, but I'm afraid that when I go to put mine on, they're going to slide down too far. So I don't know. I've never done this before. Most people use 2-sided tape with glue on top of it, and I've never used 2-sided tape before either. So I'm afraid to do that with the pages that I've worked on for so long. So we'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully I won't be very, very sad. Okay, so let's just use the height of this one to measure the height that we're going to need more than one piece. This is 2 pieces joined together, and I'll show you how to do that. So this one is this tall. Let's see if that measures out to 7 7/8. Gosh, it's so hot here. It's I'm in Seattle, and it's in the middle of that June heat wave that went on in June of 2020. I don't even know what year it is. 7 7/8. Yep, that's what this worked out to be. Actually, just a little bit more. Let's do 7 15/16. Let's do that. Okay. That gives us a 16th. Okay. So now what we're going to need is our scoreboard, but I want to show you first what we're going to do. All right, now remember I showed you these peaks and these valleys. Well, this started out as a flat piece of paper, and so if you've ever done a hidden spine book, which this is, but I mean the other kind, the little accordion spine, you'll know how to do this. This will come right to you. And in fact, if you look under Sweet Pea Papers in YouTube, I actually have done a tutorial. In fact, I've done 2 on how to make an accordion spine. So we're going to fold this the same way, sort of. But so what you want to figure out is how much you need with the paper flat. So we've got 2 inches. I'm going to write it smaller this time. We've got 2 inches. Then we've got a 1/2 inch. And that's a valley, writing a V. Then we've got 3/4 inch, which is going to be a spine, so I'll put an S. And then 3/4 inch, which is the other half of the spine. Okay, oh, spine 1. So you can see where I'm going. So you just keep going like that. Okay, so that's 3/4. Then you need 1/2, which is your valley. Then you're going to need 3/4, which is spine 2, and another 3/4, which is the other side of spine 2. And this is how you figure it out. You just keep going however many pages you have. And then once you figure that out, then you add all this together. 2 1/2, 3 1/4, 4. Anyway. And then you'll know how long to make your paper, or how long you're going to need. It comes out to more than 1 page, and we will go over how to join them together. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to get out our scoreboard. We're going to keep our white pencil. We're going to put this paper here. We're going to score it at 2 inches. Okay, I'm just going to write 2 inches. Okay, then we need to go 1/2 inch. Probably should have gone 3/4. Okay, this is 1/2 inch. Don't worry, you won't see it. And this is a valley. And you're going to go 3/4 inch. That's going to be spine 1. Remember, that's the first half. Then another 3/4 inch. Which is going to be the other half of spine 1. Because you're going to fold them together. Then you're going to need 1/2 inch. And that's going to be the valley. Then you're going to need another 3/4 inch. And that's at 5 1/4. This is spine 3. Put that in my mouth. And then another 3/4 of an inch, which is going to take you to 6. Oh yeah, I was talking about how hot it is. It's 100 degrees outside in Seattle, and nobody has air conditioning in Seattle because it never gets this hot. And we're supposed to go up to 114, and our record high, well, was yesterday, but before that, it was 104. Okay, so this is the other half of spine 3. So then you're going to need a 1/2 inch. It's going to get you to 6 1/2. You probably should go back and make these better. But not like that. Yeah, I did the first ones like that. So this is a valley. You're going to go 3/4 of an inch, which is 7 1/4. That's going to be spine 4. And you're going to go 3/4 of an inch. Oh, I know what the difference is. I'm doing 1/2 inch valleys instead of 3/4 inch valleys. That's why I'm not running out of room. I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, that gives us to 8. That's the other half of spine 4. Well, we're already there, so we'll have to test it out. And we're going to go 1/2 inch. The pages are not that big in this one. We're not really adding a lot of photos. Most of the pages are fairly flat. This one is more of a sort of a look at it book. And then we're going to go another 3/4, so it's going to be 9 1/4. Oh, we are going to run out. And this is going to be spine 5. And another 3/4. It's going to get us to 10. See, we're not going to have 2 inches. And we're not going to have the other valley plus the 2 inches. So that's the other half of spine 5. And here's our 1/2 inch valley. And then we're going to need to overlap. So we'll make a 2 inch piece and overlap that 1/2 inch. So this is the valley, and then this is the spine. I mean the part of the 2 inches. Okay, so that would be your 2 inch area. Okay, all right, we're going to put you on hold while you take care of that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that Facebook had stopped blowing up on me. All right, we're going to take that first 2 inches and we're just going to crease it because that's where our book is going to fold. And crease it a little bit here. Okay. And it's actually going to go this way. Then we've got our valley, which we leave flat. why it's called a valley. Then these next two are going to make a peak. So you fold them this way. So the S1 and S1 are there, but we have to make the other half of the valley, so we need to fold that flat. And all I did was squeeze these together and flip it this way. Okay, so now we've got our first spine. Now it's not quite that easy once you get past this one. Next one is going to be this one. And that's spine 2. And that makes our valley. And I'm just creasing them. And then our valley, we'll fold it forward to make our valley. Okay. Then these two are going to be up. So if you fold this like this, so you can see where I'm going. Okay. We need to lay it flat backwards. Crease it with our bone folder. Okay, that makes our valley. All right, then our 5th fin goes up. And we fold it backwards, crease it with the bone folder. Okay, and the next one is our valley, and then supposedly is going to be our 2 inches. Now, that is not a very big overlap, so I'm not sure. I think if we used a 2-inch piece, this is going to be a valley. Let's crease that some more. Okay, so right now what we've got, we don't have anything glued though, but what we've got we've got 4 fins. I skipped one and then I went 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we do overlap. I knew we did. Okay, so we do need a piece. I knew this one had overlapped, so we need a piece. Where's my pencil? I lost my pencil. Wow. Oh, okay. So this is S2. This is S3. This is spine 4. This is going to be spine 5, but we have to glue the other one on here. So it was 7 8/16. And we're going to need 3/4 for the spine. Let me calculate this. 1/2 for the valley and 2 for the other. Let's do 3 1/4. Let's do 3 1/2. Just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, let's get our scoreboard back out. Now, let's make this, we'll make this the 3/4, and we'll glue it over the top of that, and that will be our overlap. Okay, that'll be our peak. Coming up, we'll need another 3/4. See, I measured it wrong. 2 3/4. And then 1/2 inch. I'm a 1/2 inch short on the overlap out into the book. Okay, this is going to be spine 5, spine 5, valley, and then the 2 inches. Okay, so it should have been a 1/2 inch longer. So we're going to, let's see, this is going to go down. So this is going to be a peak. What we're going to do is we're going to take this part here and this part here, and we're going to glue them like this so it overlaps. All right? And we're going to trim the corner of this, just like we did when we made our other pages and stuff, so that you don't see the overlap and so that the overlap doesn't see you. I know who you are and I know where you live. I love that show, King of the Hill. Okay. So let's put our glue on here to glue them together. And you're going to want to use quite a bit of glue when you're doing these peaks and spines and valleys and such. Okay. And you see that makes the 5th spine. And you'll never know that it's there, especially once we glue these two together to make the actual spine. So that's all we have left to do. So now we're going to flip it over, and each of these valleys, we're going to glue these two sides together. So we're going to put glue in here. I realize I'm doing this backwards from the way every single other person does this. So you want them to be glued together really well. So see, we're getting our first spine. Glue it together. Make sure you've got your valley. Still cold. Okay, and we've only got 4 minutes left. Okay, we're going to take the next valley. We're going to glue it together, which of course makes our next spine when we flip it over. Okay, then just squeeze them together. Sure your valley's there. Check for glue seeping out. Make sure you're holding it together until the glue dries. The Fabri-Tac, you can tell when it's still wet because you can feel the glue is cold. You know, I got glue coming out the end. I was trying to figure out where I was getting glue on my fingers. There's a little bit of glue seepage on the back, but it's all right. Because this part is going to be glued flat to the spine of the book. So you got your cover, your back, and your spine. And then that's what this is going to be glued to, so nobody's going to see it. Okay, so I'm going to do the next one. I have to keep remembering to move it in. So you can see it. Whether I can see it or not is immaterial. Okay, got a little carried away on that one. Getting a dry wet wipe here. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, and then when we come back, we'll be almost done with this. Okay, we're back. As you can see, I have a new set. We're going to do everything exactly the same. That's why I went ahead and scored it. Except I got to looking at this, and I didn't think the 1/2 was big enough, but I thought the 3/4 was too big for our book. So what I decided to do was do 5/8. So for the valleys, except the first valley and the last valley, which is going to be 3/4 of an inch. That way when we put stuff on the inside covers, then we definitely have enough room, because whatever we put on the inside cover and the in the front and the back is definitely going to be you know, bigger than the width of one of our regular pages. So I wanted to show you, this one happened to come out where it joined in the valley. So we're going to overlap it, but we're not going to overlap it all the way. And I'm going to do it before we fold it and see if that works. Now these are supposed to both be 8 inches, but obviously one is not. I am having a love-hate relationship with this spine. Alrighty, 8 inches. This one is too tall. Good, because you can't really add on to the other one. I don't know how I managed to get 8 1/8. Okay, now we're in business. But I'm not going to join them all the way to the exact line. So that is going to make this valley maybe a 1/16 bigger than the other one. So make sure to glue it on straight so that everything stays straight across. And I wonder if it would be easier to keep it straight if we had it folded. I'm going to try it this way. So anyway, so what I did was I did the initial 2 inches, then I did 3/4 of an inch, then I did 3/4 for spine 1, 3/4 for the other side of spine 1, 5/8 for the valley, 3/4, 3/4 for spine 2, 5/8 for the valley, 3/4, 3/4 for spine 3, 5/8 for the valley, 3/4, 3/4 for spine 4, 5/8 for the valley, which this one's going to end up being just a skosh more. Let's hope that's a fat page. And then 3/4 and 3/4 for spine 5, 3/4 for the last valley, because that's going to butt up against where we've got our spine. And then 2 inches. And then now what we're going to do is where the 2-inch mark is, we're going to cut that off right there. Okay, so let's do that first. That'll make it easier to glue these together. I'm telling you, I was so proud of myself when the first one came out so perfect. I should have known. Never pat yourself on the back and say, "Ooh, look at me go on the very first try." Bad idea. Very bad idea. Of course, you wouldn't believe how many scraps I have left over, and ones that are 8 by 8 as well. So, yeah. So the next one I make will definitely have some paper. Okay. So let's try joining it ahead of time. Worst thing that can happen is we use 2 more pieces of black paper, right? Because we have nothing but paper. And I'm joining it on, I'm putting the glue on the short side so that I don't have extra glue on this side, on the underside. So let's line this up. We'll glue it down. Remember, if you don't glue this straight, then the whole thing is going to go, it's all going to go downhill from here. All right. Bad joke number 2. I still think there we go. And since I was able to move it, that definitely means that there was still some glue that wasn't dry. Now you'll notice that you can't even see where that's joined, which is the whole point, especially since it's going to be in a valley. Now we're going to cover the valleys with paper, which is, you're going to thank me with it being 5/8 instead of a 3/4. But we're going to cut strips of paper from the kit, and I have decided, while we're waiting for that to dry, I've decided that I want something kind of sparkly in between. Now I don't have a whole lot of sparkly pages left. I have this one that's already been pulled out But I didn't really want to just put the text in between, even though that was an option, or even the castle. Because when you look straight down at it through the spines, then you'll see the completed picture. Okay, so let's put this one to the side since it's not the correct. Doesn't mean that we can't use it in a different book. You know what I mean? So if we had a 5-page book that was extra thin, then we could use this spine. So just hold on to it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly good spine. Inner spine. So what I thought I'd use is either this page and just use this sparkly part. And I'm leaning towards that one. Or we could use this page. But they're the same pretty much, and the sparkly on this goes farther over. So I think that's probably what we'll use to cover it with. Remember, we only have 2 of each page, and this is the second one. Okay, so we're not going to worry about that right now, but I just thought I would talk about it. The reason I'm waiting for that to especially dry is because it's in a valley. And we want to make sure that everything's hunky-dory. Okay, so we're going to fold this one up, which is our 2 inches. Then we're gonna fold it back, of course. Then we're going to take these 2, which is spine 1. We're going to stick them up. And we're going to hit it with the bone folder. Then we're going to make sure our valley is bent. Then the next valley. Then we've got the next spine. So let's make that peak. That spine. I'm aware that most people don't do it this way, but I just happen to work out a way that seems to work for me. So if you find a way that makes the spine work for you, then I say go for it. Okay, then we have our valley. Then we have spine 3. Lay it down. Hit it with the bone folder. And see, when you do it that way, it also creases the valley on that side. Okay. Get ready, the dog may start barking. Somebody's stomping up and down the stairs. So let's see, this is where our seam is, right here. So we've got this spine. We're going to lay it down. We're going to crease it. Seems to be holding fine, she says confidently. And that makes our valley. And the next 2 is spine 5. So let's make that. This is our last 3/4 valley, and this is the 2 inches that's going to overlap onto the book. So we've got all of our spines. And I'm going to put you on hold while I glue all these, because I'm not going to make you watch me glue them all again. Okay? Hold on just 1 second. Okay, we're back. I've got everything glued. It's still drying. On a side note, when you and I folded this so that, because this is where the spine of the book is going to be, so you want to make sure that it goes back and forth easily. Make sure that your glue is dry before you do too much. I also have my foot wrapped around my cord. Here we go. I also want to mention that if when you lay them flat, remember in the first video I was showing you how to move them back and forth to kind of get it to where your pages will go. If you hear crinkling, that means that your glue is not completely stuck down or that it's still wet. So the other thing is that you might have, as you can see on mine, it's not quite as pretty as the first one, glue on the back. So make sure that you haven't stuck yourself to your countertop or made a big giant mess that you're not going to be able to get yourself out of. So now to measure for our spine for our book, oh, I also wanted to mention, I'm going to mark this. Here's the 1/2 inch spine. This is the 3/4 inch, 1/4 inch spine for Mariposa. And I'm using chalk. This can be easily erased. If you feel like your paper is not going to quite cover something that you've written, then you can always just go in with your chalk pencil eraser and just erase it right out. Okay, so now this is what we're going to look at. This isn't quite flat yet. Okay, the difference is that this one seems taller, so we'll have to see. I'll measure it against the pages of the book. But let's see how tall this one is. This one might be 7 7/8. It is. Or it's 7 15/16. Nope, 7 7/8. So I may have cut this one down a little bit. I think I did, and I may do it with this one. You have to take into account, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I think I did, where your center of your page is glued together is very narrow and very tight. So we're going to try to address that in the next video, or in the video where we put the pages in. But actually we're going to talk about it before we get done with the spine. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and end here because we're at 45 minutes and we've got our spine done. Oh, and the thing that I got sidetracked off of, there's our 3/4, here's our 5/8. So you can see that's better already. And then this is our 1/2, which you can see is too narrow. Okay, so that's what the difference looks like. All it takes is a little bit of measuring if you draw it out on the paper first and then do your folds. I find it easier to gather up the peaks of the spines. You may find a different way that works better for you, and if so, I highly suggest that you use it. All right, this is the end of video 12, and I will see you in video 13, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Bye-bye.